And we are back, and I'm sitting here now with School Superintendent Mike Fournier. Michael,
Hello, Bill. How are you?
I'm doing great. We have had a great year in Bedford High School sports. I have to first bring it back to the sports. Very fun.
Of
yes,
course
we
you do.
have.
Of course you do.
Forget all that other stuff, and I didn't tell you I was going to say that because we're so involved. What have we done? We've done about 75 live broadcasts of Bedford High School sports since the beginning of the season.
They have been amazing all year. I think I saw you at the basketball game, which was terrific. And I try to get to as many of them as I can, but I can't get to all of them, of course, because there's so many. But yes, great season for our kids.
This,
good.
BHS Sports has always been great. Great staff, great coaches, great support from the community, great feeder. There's something special about this. They're all the classes, all the sports are doing well. They do well every year. You have your building years, but we have covered a lot of sports. And this class seems to be a magic class.
There's some talent. There's definitely some talent with our kids. When I watch them on the court or on the football field, I think, how do they do that? I don't think I ever could.
Jill,
I attribute to their feeder programs.
yeah,
We're very, very lucky in this town to have such strong feeder programs.
I think you're right. Lots of family
Lots of-
engagement.
absolutely.
There's a lot of opportunity for our kids, and so when they come up, you have it's just like academics. Sports and academics are really aligned. You have strong families that are invested in education, they're invested in athletics, and then you have kids that just rise to that level.
yeah, and we've had fun, covering it from the way that the high school team came back to beat Londonderry out in Exeter. Probably the best football game I've ever seen, to this most recent game, the quarterfinals, not necessarily the finals, right here in BHS Gym, where we beat Trinity 93-91. One of the best, even all the sports pundits throughout New Hampshire said, without a doubt,
The best
probably
game.
the best high school basketball game they've ever seen, and it was down to the wire. So we've been privileged, and we started this relationship with Bedford High School when the school was launched in 2007. We were covering West High, but we were able to work very closely with the high school, building the infrastructure to make what we have today.
Yeah.
And I will remind you at home that it's just not on our 4 channels. It's not only streaming on our website, but you now can get us on Roku TV. You can get us on Apple TV. You can get us on Amazon. You can go to your iPhone, download the BCTV app, go to the Android.
I just realized that you guys were in HD like
I
last
know.
week.
I don't know. So
And I think you've been doing that for years.
See, it makes it a little more interesting when you're at a council meeting because you really have to look good because that
I-
HTC picks
I
up
just saw you-
every single
yeah.
wrinkle.
Yeah. And you can see Michael doing his thing too. Every so often on HD 1072, and that's what we do as well. So it's been a fun year. Academically, it's fine. The students are doing fine. I mean, is there anything particular that jumps out at you right now that says, that's a good year, but we're working on things?
Yeah, I mean, I just think this year has been a really solid year for our district. We've had great board leadership. Our leadership team and our teachers are all focused on kids and academics. We're talking about the right things, why we're in school, what kids need to be successful. We're engaging with families. And so, it doesn't mean that there aren't areas that we need to improve on and continue to look at, but I feel like we are doing school the way it's meant to be done. And so that, for me, has really been refreshing compared to the last several years, of course. And so there's just lots of things we're dealing with. Of course, we still have, and people know this, there is a mental health crisis in our country. We see it in our youth. We see greater anxiety, greater depression. That does impact our kids and how they access learning in the classroom, so we need to be aware of those things. But overall, the Bedford community is very supportive to provide the resources we need so we can help the kids ultimately learn, because that's the point, is getting them to the place where they can learn. So great year.
What's our district school population right now, Mike?
So we're about 4,200. Which actually is holding pretty steady. The state has seen sort of a precipitous drop in population. So you probably noticed in the paper the other day, several districts, Manchester and Nashua being 2, are looking to close schools. We are not. In fact, our BEAT program, I'd love to grow that. That's our Bedford Early Education Program. We had sign-ups for BEAP, and we had to close the doors. We didn't have enough space. People talk about full day K, which we don't offer. If we were ever to offer full day K, I need portable classrooms. I don't have enough space for them. So, our high was at about 4,500, and so we're lower than that. But we have shrunk at a far slower pace than most districts in New Hampshire.
Interesting.
What's the how many students at BHS right now?
So Bedford High School is just under 1,400, maybe like 1,405. We're about 1,400 students.
So
at
that's
Bedford High
down.
School.
I can remember didn't you creep over the 1,500 mark a few years ago?
Yes, and when we were at the 1,500 mark, there were a lot of families concerned about, room in the cafeteria, room in the library, the hallways are crowded, and that's true. I mean, we didn't displace programs, but, the elbow space gets a little tight. It's more comfortable there. As you know, we're looking into the possibility of bringing in an ROTC program to our schools, and so, that's another space requirement for ROTC. That the Department of Defense has some space requirements we need to look at. So you're always vying for square footage, both on the field, as you know, but then also in the schools.
Right.
I'm glad to hear as a veteran that you're bringing in an ROTC program.
I didn't hear that. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's absolutely super. I would say that my years working for IBM was as a result of being an officer in the United States Army. But that goes back. I was drafted in those old days, and we had to go places that we didn't necessarily want to go. And
Was that World War I?
Yeah, that's close. It's really close. Yeah, my grandkids would say that, but there was that, that one, that Far East one. But the military does so much to, as long as you can stay out of harm's way, to just build character. And when I got out of UMass, I'm not trying to make this about me, but the importance of how it can build character. There's a lot more conflict. Well, we had conflict going, but when I was in, but at the same time, what you learn that can create you as a young man and a young woman will last you a lifetime. It just prepares you for new opportunities, and it prepares you for an opportunity not only to manage but to lead. And I think by putting in an ROTC program, it can take some people that might not have direction and create direction. So I'm really, really very happy to hear that.
So a couple of things that I think people at home who are listening should know is, number one, it's not a military recruiting program.
Right.
That is not the purpose of it at all. It's really a program to help build leadership with our kids. We talk about these soft skills, like how do you interact with one another? How do you resolve conflict? How do you create self-discipline? How do you build self-esteem? How do you hold kids accountable to what it is they're supposed to do and want to do? And those are the types of things that ROTC brings to a school. And every school that I've spoken to about ROTC has said it has changed positively the culture of their schools. And in fact, this year's New Hampshire Teacher of the Year was the ROTC teacher at Alvern High School.
Who was that?
Christian Cheatham.
Okay.
Is his name. And so they just make such a big impact on our kids. That I'd love to see it happen, but of course, as you probably know, the Department of Defense is, it's full, and so we're really kind of trying to find a way to bring more programs to the Northeast. So we'll see if Bedford High School, if we can get an in.
Well, and I'm glad you clarified that. I don't want parents at home thinking that Bedford High School is, once you join, that you have a commitment like ROTC in college. It doesn't work that way
No,
at
it
all.
does not at all.
But it does open up opportunities that you could potentially get into an ROTC college course. I mean, in college, maybe scholarship opportunities. I'm not totally familiar with it, Michael, you are. But I would venture to say the majority of those kids will probably end up in the military. I would highly recommend it. But if you don't, it's a great management, great leadership, self-esteem promoting program. It's great.
Yeah, it is. And when I went to West High School, like a lot of Bedford kids did, and there was an ROTC program, and lots of great kids were in those programs. And I would say a lot of them did not go on to military academies at all, or to the military. They went off to four-year colleges. And so, again, it's another option. It's another opportunity for our kids. It's not a requirement. The courses, I think, would count as electives, so they wouldn't count as required courses, but they would be electives for students. And I think one of the biggest problems we have in our school is that, kids have to choose. They have to prioritize, kind of like we do in life, right? Like there's this menu of choices that I have, and I only have so many slots, and so I need to prioritize. So that will be one of the things that parents and kids will need to work through.
Options, that's great to have.
Yeah.
That's very good.
That's absolutely super. I want to touch upon something right now, particularly with everything that's going on in this country today, with active shooters in the school environments. And without getting into specifics, most recently, down in Nashville. And on the ballot here today was what I call a no-brainer, which is a bond for integrating building security, for cameras. Explain that a little bit and talk about the safety measures in place, but what this will do. I mean, this is excellent, putting cameras and other security protocols in place.
Yeah, so this is interesting because security is like a multi-layered approach, right? There's not just one thing you do to help protect kids, right? It's relationships, it's see something, say something, it's cameras, it's locked doors, it's training. There's just so many facets to it. And so what we do is we work with the local police department, we work with Homeland Security, and I can tell you with confidence that if you were to talk to Chief John Berfonsky, he would say his number one priority for our district is to get us the intruder alert system, and which is part of this bond. And so the intruder alert system essentially is a system, if you think of like a fire alarm, we all know what those do, right? So an intruder alert system is this very similar to a fire alarm, except for an intruder, and it verbally tells the school, there's an intruder in the building and this is what you do. It notifies the police. And with this bond, we integrate the cameras so that the officers know exactly where the person is who's in the building that doesn't need to be there. So currently, we don't have cameras in the schools. If there were an assailant in the school, unless there's a way to communicate outside, they wouldn't know. Here, they would have visual access to what's happening. And of course, for parents who are worried about privacy, no cameras in the classrooms, no cameras in the gymnasium during gym because that's a class, none in the locker rooms or bathrooms, but in the open spaces, the doorways, places like that. And then the two other pieces that were sort of add-ons were, the intercom systems at Memorial and Peter Woodbury, I think, are original to the schools. And so there's no way to really integrate with those systems right now. So we'd like to update those as well. So, from my perspective as superintendent, and frankly as a Bedford taxpayer, it's less than a cent on the tax rate to do this.
Yeah, that's why I called it a no-brainer.
Yeah, so I
hope I didn't insult anybody that didn't vote for it. But it was like,
Well,
No,
that's their choice.
I think, people get choices, and we're hopeful that this happens, but, whether it passes or not, we're going to continue to take steps to make sure our kids are safe, because I just, it's a gut punch every time I see the news.
Yeah. I bet.
Because it's such a burden for everybody in the community, but I feel such a burden to make sure our kids are safe. And I know our teachers do, I know our principals do, and certainly our parents do, because when they send their kids through our doors, we want to return them in better shape than you gave them to us, right? They've learned a little something.
So let me ask you a question along those lines. I know we used to when I was younger, and I know you guys still do, fire drills. Do you have active shooter drills for the students, knowing what they have to do when that goes off? We
do have active shooter drills for the students. However, it's really developmentally graded upwards, right? So at the high school, they literally walk through what happens with an active shooter. They talk about run, hide, fight. They barricade doors. Like, they go through the process of what it could look like. When you're talking elementary school kids, you talk more about you really talk more about what is a lockdown. So we need to lock our doors, we need to close the window, we go in the corner just in case there's somebody's in the building that shouldn't be here, we need to stay safe, and we queue up families so that they can have conversations with their kids, because you don't want to scare them, but you want to prepare them. And so it's really, you sort of walk through it. We work with the police department and fire department. Oftentimes they're in the building with us when we do it.
And you have a resource officer.
And we have 2 resource officers in the district who are terrific. So, it's kind of a balance of being prepared, but not scaring the kids or the teachers, because overall, really, statistically speaking, schools are one of the safest places to be. They really are. Right. It just doesn't feel that way because of what we see on the news.
True.
That's a good point.
Yeah, good point. You and I worked together several years and it passed. How's the sprinkler system going? The upgrade?
Yes.
Remember, it took 3 years, I think, to finally.
It took 3 times. Well,
but we had a security. Notice I said
who was
wait,
the fire chief?
I kept the PSAs with him.
Who was the fire chief before Hunter? It was
Chief Scott Wiggin.
Scott Wiggin.
Right.
So for years, Scott Wiggin wanted us to get this done. So yes, we got it done after 3 tries. So McKelvey is almost done. So the sprinklers are in, but the alarm, I think they're working on panels. We've stubbed out Memorial, meaning brought water to the we're bringing water to the building, so that's happening. And Peter Woodbury, they're going to finish this summer. So what's happened essentially is the way Peter Woodbury is built is we couldn't continue the work on sprinklers at the 3 to 11 shift, but at McKelvey we could, just because of the way the buildings are built. So we're continuing to move forward on those projects. I don't have a date of completion on those yet because it's a lot of manpower, of course, but those are really coming along. The fire department actually has said to me they're thrilled at our progress. We're much further ahead than they anticipated, so we're in good shape.
Scott Hunter.
Scott, he's a great guy. Yes, well, and
he's very particular.
He is, and Todd Zollman, our maintenance guy, director of maintenance, he is just on it, and so I really appreciate him. And then our finance person, Lisa Ambrosio, she does a really nice job of making sure the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. Because we also have ESSER funds, about $800,000 of ESSER funds from that COVID money we're putting towards. Now I might need to take that back. We put that towards HVAC, not sprinklers. I apologize. Okay. Erase that. That was towards HVAC, not sprinklers.
Oh, I wish I had HVAC when I was going to school. Open the windows. Nowadays you need it.
Well, but we don't have air conditioning.
No air.
Oh,
I was going to say.
Sorry.
Wait a minute.
There are some spots that are air conditioned, like the library, the cafeteria, but no, unfortunately, the classrooms are still not air conditioned, and a lot of families think that they are.
Is it Jim? Is this?
I don't think this space is air conditioned, no. I don't think this gym is.
Well, this was packed against Trinity, and it seemed very comfortable. So.
Well, it was a winter game.
That's true. Wait a minute, I should stand corrected because we were in here at the beginning. We've had 2 graduations in here. We've been very, very lucky.
Very lucky, yes.
People don't know that whole end opens up on the Liturgio side. That's where the front is. And we've had some embarrassing moments where we're outside, and then when Bill Hagan was here.
Yes.
And then breaking down the chairs. You may have been part of bringing the chairs in. I don't know if you were up on board.
That was in
yes.
2011.
Yeah, 11 somewhere around.
2011.
But let's hope this year we still have it outside.
I will tell you this. I watched the debates of the school board members, and every school board member at the debates all supported this. So I would like to think that there is a lot of support for this in the community.
Absolutely.
I haven't heard anyone argue against it.
No, not at all. I mean, again, in today's day and age, it would be hard to think.
Yeah.
Then again. Michael, what do you got on the horizon? I mean, 2023, anything in particular that, without getting into specifics, I know you have so much going on at the different levels.
So we have, basically our kind of mission are the school district goals, right? So we get after, of course, academic performance is important to us, so we're constantly finding ways to improve that for kids. This year we've initiated a couple of programs with the DOE to help us with that. One is tutor.com. It's 24/7 tutoring through the Princeton Review. Very high-level tutoring for kids, and every student 6 through 12 can have it. If you need help with physics, geometry, history, writing, that's available to students. It doesn't take the place of extra help with a teacher, but that is just another way to help students. We have another program that we've used called Engage New Hampshire, and it's through Graduation Alliance, and what that does is there are kids who are either habitually truant, not engaged with school, things are just not connecting with them, and this program, if the parents are okay with it and sign them up, literally gives them an academic coach that's outside of Bedford that is like a support system. Like, you need a ride to the game, we'll get you some transportation. You need to go to extra help, I'll communicate with your teacher. You need help with field trip money, we'll coordinate with the school. Like, just sort of like bridge the gap of things for them. So that's another program that we have put into place this year.
It's amazing.
So there's just really trying to like help kids and give them all the supports that they need to be successful, really.
And you talk a lot about this during the school board meetings. I mean, these kind of programs, as you're introducing them, kind of describe them. The reason I'm leading up to this, Michael, is to just let people know that a lot of good information comes out of the school board meetings. And I'm going to tell you, we cover them all.
You do.
That's exactly it. And they run on channel 23, and that's the school district channel, and also the HD 1072 that Michael just found out about. Now, the important thing to note is that if you are looking up available 24/7 video on demand, And if you just go to the BCTV website, or better still, go to the school board on your website, click on school board, there's a drop-down menu. You might not know this. It says BCTV videos, but it's all set up. You click that and you come right into our page. And there are all the thumbnails of all the school board meetings. You go back years. When you open that up, you're going to see the agenda with all the hyperlinks that are in there, not only the video, but all the agenda chapter markers. So if Michael's speaking and all you want to hear is his manager's notes or his superintendent's notes, and he's at 6th agenda, you click on that and it comes right up to that point.
I actually use that service because now that I'm entering my 5th year, sometimes I don't remember what I said 2 years ago. And so, the minutes are good, but sometimes I have to go back and go, what exactly did I say? Because the devil's in the details sometimes. And so I have used that. Yeah. So it's very, very helpful.
Yeah. Well, we want to thank Bedford School District and Bedford High School in particular for helping to keep BCTV on the map, because we just enjoy that whole relationship, because if we're not broadcasting sports live, people want to know why. And we have tremendous announcers: Corey Mustard-Tiger, Lauren Fox, Jason Bergeron, Harry Kozlowski, Bill Klein, working here tonight doing soccer. We have some terrific announcers, and we've taken on a couple of students as interns. Jack Watson was here. I can't think of Zoe. She was a goalkeeper. Zoe. She also worked with Lauren Fox. She was a goalkeeper for the girls soccer team. But Jack worked with us last night. He's going to Syracuse, so he's using his experience with working and being mentored by Corey. So we've always wanted to try to, marry up anybody that's interested in the school district with our radio side as well as our TV side. So it's not a curriculum per se, but it's an extension of the classroom. And we do have Bulldogs Unleashed, and they were award winners, the girls that do the Bulldog, the newspaper.
Right.
They have been, we're 7 years now, the radio station's 7 years old, and we've always had a crew from the high school, and they are an award-winning crew. They're giving updates on what's going on at Bedford High School.
That's awesome.
I don't know if you said this or not, but it's a student, Caitlin, who runs the meetings
Fitzgerald.
For BCTV. So I don't remember what year she is.
She's a junior.
She's a junior at Bedford High School. She runs the camera for the meetings. She's very professional, does a great job. And then you probably know this, but we also have a student school board member now, Abby Kincaid.
Yep.
Bright young lady. She's a senior this year, and it's been really nice to have a student school board member on there, because the board makes decisions based on recommendations. And sometimes they're making decisions for kids, and kids want to have a voice.
Yeah, that's great.
And now she has a voice, and she votes. It's not the vote doesn't count towards the decision, but we record her vote, what it is, and so I think it's been really helpful having her on there.
I'm going to add a couple more things about Caitlin. She's the first student that we had that our radio program director, Harry Kozlowski, said, I want to work with you, and she does her own Drive DJ show.
Does she? That's amazing.
And she was just recognized about 3 months ago. She's got her first award from the New Hampshire Association of Broadcasters. These are all the commercial stations. She competed against them and won.
Yeah.
She just got the top #1 high school DJ in the country.
Oh my gosh!
Wow,
I didn't know
that's
that.
awesome.
That's great.
Yeah, she got a nice
Congratulations to her.
It was, and
good.
she's a go-getter. She's a pretty smart girl too,
Yeah.
but she wants to be pre-med, so she's doing it. And she's on the.
Good for her.
Yeah, she still does sports, and we have Abby Doffer, who is who's also works with us. They came to us as sophomores. Hayden. Gennaro came to us when he was a junior. So we do take high school kids that are committed, that show that interest, and we get them to work, and they are getting paid.
Which is great.
Yeah,
It's
good. I'm
terrific.
sure it's a great
and I'm
service
sure
to provide.
Hayden's mom, Sue, just loves having her little boy in that closet in there. I'm
Telling
not
her what
sure.
to do.
I don't think it's reciprocated on Hayden's part, though.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Only kidding.
Yeah.
Michael, thank you so much for your time. If there's anything else you'd like to add.
No, I'm grateful. I'm glad people came out to vote. I mean, that's always the big
Yeah, we
thing.
got a good turnout this year.
Yep.
I think it were more than I anticipated today. We don't have
remember-
the numbers,
you know
of
what the
course,
number is?
yet. They're coming.
They're still
coming
coming
forth.
in. Yeah.
Yep.
I will add one
But-
more thing. I've never seen these many people run for a school position. Again, we have the 1 year position, 3 people running.
Yep.
And I think for the history for those people, Melissa Stevens resigned because she took a position within the school district.
Yep, she's working at Lurgio.
And then a good friend, and everybody loves him from way back when, our old days, Paul Brock comes on for a year.
He's been great.
He's an institution. And now we have 3 candidates, Jerry Dupree, Kevin Coventry, and Kara Lamache going for the 1-year seat.
Yep.
And then Bill and Sue, they're going again running for the 3-year up against Chelsea Lewis, Sheila McDonald, and Sean Moreau. And hopefully we'll have those results soon, and we'll let you at home know as soon as we know. But at this point right now, I'm going to get a hold of my production guys out there, and we're going to go on break right now as we look either for another guest or hopefully get you the results. So stay tuned.